Right then, welcome to Ryan's Road podcast, number 2. So, coming off of last week, I think we just kind of went through the sort of things I'd like to talk about. At the minute, I am a bit torn between getting into subjects that I think would help and that obviously I want to talk about, and giving you a bit of background on me. With the pilot podcast that I did talk a bit more about myself and my life circumstances, as it were. But I don't want to do that yet, really, with the actual episode podcast. I think I want to save it, and we'll do that a bit later down the line. What I might do is just briefly give you a description, if that makes sense. I'm a self-employed tradesman, married with 3 children. Children? Aged 5, 4 and 2. They're all boys. So at one point I had a newborn, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So that's kind of where I feel like I've gained a lot of stress, obviously, and dealing with negative thoughts and whatnot, which is what I want to kind of delve into today a bit briefly, because I'm still trying to keep these short. I don't want to be. I'm not ready for the hour, 2-hour podcast yet, mainly because I'm yet to get to the point where I'm planning these. It's literally I've just come in to the studio with the thought of I want to talk about negative thoughts today. So we'll get through that, and I'll try and do it with as little editing and as little as possible for you. So we all know about negative thoughts. I think if you've never had one, then you're superhuman or you're an alien. You're not from this planet, eh? Because we all get them, and they're horrible things, and we have to deal with them on a daily basis. I'm trying to abbreviate too much now. It matters. See, I'm doing it already. The ers and the ums. So yeah, I think I want to touch on that more because there's been some examples of it in my own life very recently, with my friend that I do my exercising with has got an elbow injury, and my wife's been struggling more with the children because of the the lockdown and the homeschooling type thing. And so I'm hearing a lot of these sentences like with the friend, if only we'd have exercised when we were younger, if only I didn't push it so much with my elbow so it hurts again. All I want to do is be able to do my push-ups and not my pull-ups, things like that. On the wife family side thing, it'd be more like, if only the kids were a bit older, if only we got some help from the family, or if only he'd just eat his dinner right, or if only he'd wake up that little bit late, all these. Obviously the if only thing is kind of one route. You do get more depressing ones, even more. But I think they're the more general negative thoughts, is when it's whatever kind of specific thing you're thinking about. It's that thinking where it's non-productive. You're not going to get anywhere. It's not moving. It's not going forward. Like, look, if only I could have a cup of tea, but the kettle's empty. If only the kettle had water in it. So, well, they ain't going to get any water unless you put it in yourself. That's what I want to run a marathon. If only I could get to the finish line, but you're jogging on the spot. Like, come on, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna work. But it's so hard because in the moment, that's all you're thinking, and you literally have to try and break the cycle, because you get into that feeling of just if only this. Why can't it just be that? And you almost get stuck on a loop. That's it. Your brain's on this little loop, and it's just going around with bad this, bad that, bad that, bad that, and then literally you just sink down, and then that's it. You're depressed then. And you're overwhelmed, you don't want to think about it, and you're not going forward, you're going backwards if anything, and you ain't getting anywhere. So like I always say, I want to try and strengthen the voices in your head. And I like to talk about them as being voices in your head, because it always sounds a little quirky and crazy, like, you're hearing voices. But I like to word it as that we think in voices, don't we? Like that voice that says, I just want 10 more minutes in bed. That biscuit won't hurt. If only I didn't have work today. Or even like positive stuff like, it'd be nice to go and do that. Like, you think with words in your head, don't you? But it'll be a voice, because you can have contradicting thoughts in your head. So I'm just going to call them voices and thoughts, and hopefully you don't all think I'm crazy. But yeah, so I want to strengthen the good thoughts that you have, so that in these moments when you get in the old, I need this and that, and why can't it be this? You got that other voice basically saying, shut the fuck up. You're not helping. It ain't working. everything you're saying is just a waste of time. There's no point in saying it. You're right, yeah, it would have been better if we'd done it, if we exercised when we were younger. That was years ago, it's gone, you can't change that. That's not an option. Oh, if only this, yeah, that's not an option. So just forget it. I know, another example, like, right, we can paint this wall, been to the shop, the colours they had were red, blue and yellow. What about green? Oh, they didn't have green. Yeah, but I really like green. There wasn't green there. Yeah, but green's my favourite colour. They didn't have green. Stop going on about the green because it's not an option. We can't paint the wall that colour. That's what the dark thoughts are. The dark thoughts are the colours you ain't got, and you're trying to paint your wall. Like, forget them. You ain't going to be able to stop yourself from thinking them. I think some people can, or they say they can. I don't want to believe that. I think it's more they're always there. You're always hearing them. You've always got the voices trying to pin you down, tell you you're not good enough, tell you can't do it. What is it? I'm going to get it. So something the wife kept saying lately with the kids, saying it's just too hard. But she'd be on repeat the amount of times she said it with the kids. It's just too hard. I says to her, like, I says, but you're in. When you say the negative thoughts out loud, it's almost like you give them power. Because it's almost like every time you then say it out loud, like it's just too hard. It's just too hard with the kids. Then your brain's like almost hearing you separately going, yeah, it is, isn't it? It is just too hard. You're right. It's too hard. We can't do it. It's just too hard. You can't do it. You're just no point in even trying. It's just too hard. And then that's it then. You're stuck. It's almost like you're convincing yourself that it's too hard then. And I says to the wife, it only feels like it's too hard because you're telling yourself it's too hard. Like, but that's like it with everything, whether it's looking after kids, whether it's trying to exercise, trying to diet, trying to have a better relationship with your partner. If you start telling yourself, it's just too hard, you're just convincing yourself. What was that? I saw. It was related to like physical exercise, and it stuck with me a bit, saying your mind will always give up before your body. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? So using the example of physical exercise, if you go for a run for your first time, like I started running this week, you're going to ache, it's going to work, you probably won't be able to go that fast. But if you had a call that your house is on fire from your wife, your partner, stuck in the house with your kids, we can't get out the house is on fire, like, phone won't work for whatever reason to ring the emergency services, but she rang you. Let's skip over that bit. So basically, you're like gunning home, you want to save your family, your car breaks, you're 10-15 minutes or whatever from your house, you're going to jump out that car and you're going to run, and you're going to keep going, and you ain't going to stop because of the reason that's in your brain, that's in your head, the thought you've got. You want to save your family, they're the most important thing to you. You're going to keep running. And you won't give up because your body will hold out. Whereas if that was, I woke up on a Sunday morning to go for a run, and you'd start running and maybe get off around and have a break, and you'd be telling yourself, my body ain't used to it. I can't do it. Whereas if it was the next day, it was a fire thing, you'd run twice as fast, twice the distance. But your body can do it. It's your mind that fucks you, right? So this is what I mean by this. So when I was saying to the wife about her keep saying, it's too hard, it's just too hard, it's just too hard. It ain't too hard. It is hard, it is difficult, but that's life. Life is hard. Like, your mum's family member, illness comes along, cancer or something like that, sucks, it's terrible, and it's hard, and it just gets thrown at you. You can't control it. Life shit, your car breaks down on the day when your money's already gone out for some other bloody payment, you can't afford to fix your car. Life fucks you up. Naturally, there's plenty of natural moments that are just hard. So yeah, I just want to kind of address that. I want you to be able to recognise it as it's happening, because that's the thing. It's like identifying it. It's like when you got an illness and you don't know what it is, but then you go to the doctor and they tell you. It's easier to deal with it when you know what it is. So I'm hoping you can listen to this and be like, I know exactly what you're on about. And I want it to kind of stick in your head, so the next time it happens and you do it, you've got another voice in your head going, I'm doing that bullshit again. Like, I'm just talking nonsense. All this shit that my brain's saying, it don't matter. It's just making me feel bad. I need to just ignore it. That sentence is easy to say. I need to just ignore it. You could put that in a ball and throw it through the camera at me, couldn't you? It's easy to say, hard to do. So the way you not so much ignore it, I guess, is you fight it by straight away by going, I know what you are. So as soon as you get that thing of, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, just that ball of bullshit that comes along to fuck you in the arse, just tell it to fuck off. When you feel it and you know it, just straight away I want you to be like, aha, I know what this is. I know what it is now. I'm not going to get overwhelmed by it. I'm not going to fall in the dark hole. I'm going to recognise that this is bullshit, and I'm going to tell it to piss off. I'm not letting you take control. Like, you can be there. Those thoughts and voices can keep going, can keep talking, but I'm not paying attention because I know it's not going to get me anywhere. I'm going to focus on what I can control and what I can do. If you can do that, it opens up this world of options. In the example of the wife with the kids, then it becomes, well, what if I did this and got them dinner like 10 minutes earlier? What if I played this game with them? What if I got this toy out? Because we've got this many boxes of toys, they can't think of everything that's in there, but I know what's in every box because I'm the adult. Try playing with this. Let's get some paper. You know what I mean? Your brain starts thinking of possible solutions. Snap, 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 snap. And if you can think of one possible thing, then that'll lead on to like, or I could try this, or I could try that, or maybe this. What if I go do that instead? Like, just it's really strange. It's hard trying to word it, but it's so strange in that, like I say, with how the wife kept saying, oh, it's just too hard. It's just too hard. It's just too hard. Every time you say it, you reaffirm it to yourself. You reaffirm it to yourself. For those on YouTube, by the way, I'm aware I'm not looking at the lens as often. I'm gonna keep trying to get better at that. But every time you say these negative thoughts out loud, it just reconfirms it to yourself. So you're like, yeah, it is too hard, and that's it. You just sat there, and you're not even thinking about what you can do about the problem. All you sat there is thinking, yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard. What's the point in trying? It's too hard. Yep, I ain't even going to try it. It's too hard. Nope. I'm not rocking back and forth like a little nutcase. So I really want people to be able to just recognise the shit before you step in it. You're walking down the street, you see the shit, don't step in it. Go, ha-ha! Step to the side. Yeah, find a new direction to go in. Hey, figure that one out. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. With the friend with the elbow, he's obviously. So it was the other start of the week. He's tried doing push-ups with a weighted vest on. I don't know why he tried doing that when he knows his elbow isn't right. Silly bugger. But straight away he's like saying all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, forget all the crap you're saying. It ain't going to work. That ain't going to fix it. Yeah, you did wrong. What have you done? You've learned. Next time, take it easy with your push-ups. If you feel anything with your elbow, don't exercise on it. Don't put a bloody weight vest on. But what you can do in the meantime is work on your pulling, your ab work. We weren't doing cardio at the time. If you want to follow fitness stuff, by the way, I've got a separate channel for my fitness and exercise stuff or body weight training. But yeah, we weren't doing cardio at the time, so I've got him into that now. It's like another avenue that you can pursue to see improvement on. So that's what I mean. Like, just if you get in this crap and these thoughts, please just recognise what you're doing and don't get buried by them. Don't let yourself get consumed by all that shit, because it's horrible. And I've known people that sit in it for years. One of my best friends, I try and talk to him regularly because he lives a bit of a distance. I don't get to see him very often, but he gets consumed by it, and it's crazy when I talk to him to hear how he talks, because all he wants to confirm is how dark it is for him, and then just get confirmation on how bad it is. You don't want to hear the good bit. But I'll call him on days when he ain't talking back to me. I'm on the phone and I'm just going over all the stuff, and I'll say to him, I know today on your dark day, when he's letting the negative thoughts consume him, I'm like, you're not taking this in, you're not accepting it, but I'm going to say it to you anyway, so that on the day when you can slightly step away from the negative cloud, you'll be like, I remember that conversation with Ryan last week, and yeah, he was right. I could do that. This might help. That could go that way. If you get what I'm going at. It'd be nice if I still need to set up an email. I don't know if podcasting, because obviously I'm all new to this with the podcast stuff. I'm going to be putting it on YouTube, so if you are listening as a podcast, if you want to ask me a question, I guess you could pop on the YouTube channel and drop a comment, because it'd be nice to talk to people specifically, address specific problems they're having, if it's to do with work or fitness or children. I can do a whole series about kids. Not a problem. We'll get into that at some point. How long we be going for? 15 minutes. I think we might call it there. We'll call it short and sweet, because that's basically the gist of the point that I wanted to get to, is about you being able to identify the negative thoughts when they're bombarding you and not letting them overwhelm you and take control, so that you can just pause it. I'm not saying be Superman or He-Man or whatever kind of mythical big hero figure you want to think of. I'm not saying, oh, you can rise above it. Be positive. I'm trying to be more realistic. Like, you're going to feel that shit. You're going to have those crap voices smacking you constantly when you have, either if it's just constantly throughout your day or if it's because of a specific situation that's happened. You're going to have them hitting you. I just want you to be able to just put your fucking hand up and just kind of be like, no, I don't like. I'm hearing you, but I'm not listening to you. Like, you can just piss off for now. I don't want to listen to you, and just ignore it. And then while you're ignoring it, I want you to just try and think, I guess I could go try that. Like, might help if I go do that. Yeah, that could help. Try and do that. A daft little example of this was with the wife getting overwhelmed with the kids, and I had to have a conversation with her, because I'd come back and she'd just have no emotion on her face. You could tell she'd give up. And I sat down with her on the evening and I said, like, look, this can't be good, so we need to figure out what we can do. I mean, even if it's just me coming home and you go and have an hour to yourself when I get in, and I'll sort the kids out, and then you come downstairs or whatever, or I'll just get them fed and get in bed and go to dinner. And then, like, today at work, she just messaged me saying, when you get back, can I have an hour to myself? But she wouldn't have thought to ask me that. I had to put it forward as an option. So we can get into more specific circumstantial things later down the line, but that's just one. Is like, you might think your partner's getting stressed about something, and then you're in your head, like, all these options are available and they're just not asking for them. And then when it all blows up and explodes, you're like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you ask? Why don't you just say, can I go and have an hour to myself, before you threw a knife at the kids? Exaggeration, obviously. So sometimes it might help talking to people and saying, like, oh, here's some options of things we could do that might help, that might be good, to give them that to think about when they've got their dark thoughts, and they'll be like, well, actually, yeah, I guess I could go later and do that. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Relatively short and sweet. You don't say, yeah. If it's on YouTube, there'll be the subscribe stuff and liking, commenting would be cool. I think there's a bell. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about YouTube stuff when it's going to be on the podcast. I guess I should edit it so that there's like the podcast version, the YouTube version. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's number 2. We're getting there. We're figuring out the kinks. It's a journey. We're all together in this. I wanted to repeat that thing I said at the end of the last podcast, but I didn't watch it back to double check. It was something about don't be afraid of the day, weren't it? Yeah. So yeah, don't be afraid of the day, eh? We'll figure out a sign off together. Like I say, we're growing together. It's a movement together. Hopefully, eventually down the line, I'll be in a room that's got better lighting and I don't look so shadowy and pasty. Yeah. Right. This has been Ryan's Road podcast, and I'll see you, speak to you, listen to you, hear you in the next one.